They found it 200 feet beneath a valley in central Pennsylvania. Not ruins, not artifacts scattered across a dig site. An entire civilization intact, organized, deliberately buried under 2 centuries of soil and stone. And according to the carbon dating, it predates everything we were taught about settlement in North America by at least 3,000 years. To put that in scale, when this civilization was at its height, the Egyptian pyramids hadn't been built yet, the Great Wall of China didn't exist, Europe was still in the Bronze Age, and the entire known history we teach in schools, all of it, was still thousands of years away from happening. This wasn't a small settlement. Excavation teams have mapped the remains of what appears to be a structured urban center spanning roughly 8 square miles. To visualize that, imagine taking the entire footprint of downtown Philadelphia and burying it so completely that no surface evidence remains. No mounds, no clearing in the forest, nothing visible from above, just soil and beneath it a city that was deliberately hidden. The evidence isn't speculative. In 2024, a team of geophysicists using ground-penetrating radar detected geometric patterns beneath the valley floor, straight lines, right angles, organized grid structures. The kind of thing that doesn't form naturally. The kind of thing that speaks a language. Asterisk, someone built this. Asterisk, following those radar signatures, the excavation team began drilling. At 187 feet down, they hit stone. Worked stone, shaped, fitted. The kind of construction technique that requires not just labor but knowledge, mathematics, planning. A civilization that understood how to organize itself at a scale most people can't comprehend. The artifacts they've recovered tell a story that contradicts everything in the textbooks. Copper tools with an alloy composition that shouldn't have been possible in North America 5,000 years ago. Pottery with glazed techniques we associate with cultures that didn't exist until millennia later. Written symbols carved into slate tablets, a writing system that has no connection to any known indigenous script. When you hold these facts in sequence, something happens. Your shoulders drop half an inch. That held breath you didn't know you were carrying finally leaves your chest. Because somewhere deep you already knew something was wrong with the official story. We were told that North America was sparsely populated before European contact, that civilization required the old world, that complexity, agriculture, writing, urban planning, these were gifts from across the Atlantic. Anything suggesting otherwise was dismissed as fringe archaeology, as wishful thinking, as the desperate desire to find grandeur where there was only survival. But the evidence doesn't care what we wanted to believe. The question isn't whether this civilization existed. The question is, why was it so thoroughly erased from the record? Why do our maps of pre-Columbian North America look like empty space when there was a city here? A sophisticated, organized, deliberately concealed city. The answer appears to be catastrophic. The geological strata above the settlement shows signs of a massive seismic event. Somewhere between 3,200 and 3,000 years ago, the region experienced an earthquake that was powerful enough to trigger a collapse. Not just structural collapse, cultural collapse, the kind of event that doesn't just destroy buildings, it destroys continuity, it severs the knowledge chain. Survivors don't return to rebuild, they scatter. The memory becomes legend, becomes myth, becomes nothing. Within a few generations, the location was forgotten. Within centuries, the landscape healed. Trees grew, soil accumulated. A valley that once held a city became indistinguishable from the wilderness around it. And for the next 3,000 years, we walked on top of it without knowing. The implications are still unfolding. If this civilization existed here in Pennsylvania, what else is buried beneath other valleys, other seemingly empty landscapes? How many other cities are sleeping under our feet? How many other knowledge systems were erased not by conquest, but by geology, by time? By the simple fact that we stopped looking. The discovery also reframes the entire narrative of human potential in North America. This wasn't a pre-agricultural culture slowly moving toward civilization. This was a civilization that achieved complexity, organization, writing systems, and architectural sophistication independently, that built something that lasted for centuries or possibly millennia before a moment of natural violence scattered it to memory. What that means is this: the human capacity for creating complexity isn't a linear progression from east to west. It emerges wherever the conditions allow. It emerges again and again, and it can be erased completely, utterly by forces beyond control. A civilization can achieve the remarkable and still vanish so completely that we mistake its absence for its non-existence. The excavation is still ongoing. They're mapping the full extent of the settlement now, recovering more artifacts, running isotope analysis on the remains to understand who these people were, where they came from, how long they lasted. Each discovery fills in a shape that was always there, always pressing against the blank space we called history. But here's what stays with you after the facts settle. Somewhere beneath a valley in Pennsylvania, there's a city that knew how to organize itself, how to create, how to build for permanence. It was undone by forces greater than itself. And for 3,000 years, we've been walking on top of its grave without knowing what we were walking on. Without knowing that the ground beneath our feet holds the answer to a question we didn't even know to ask. Asterisk, who were we before we forgot who we were? Asterisk, the evidence is there, we're just now learning how to listen.